managed to get a little bit ahead of the curve on this one because we were starting to pick them up now. Big fan of Boba Fett from the Star Wars films. Cult-like character in the films there, so we've picked up some Boba Fett's over the years. Nothing too highbrow, none of the major grails, but a couple of Boba Fett's in the collection, a couple of the Futura Boba Fett's, but the Mandalorian line, the detail, again, we talk about detail a lot with Funko Pops nowadays. Gone are the days where it's a very basic bobblehead pop. Lots of intricate detail, lots of design elements, and also glow in the dark, flocked, metallic. So just really wanted to showcase a few of the Mandalorian pops we've got so far. So starting with the basic Mandalorian number 345. Again, you know, there's quite a good weathering effect on the helmet of the Mandalorian character there, and the range, quite a wide range. I'm probably going to stick to the troopers and the Mandalorians of this range, if I'm honest, to start with. So we've got the Mandalorian, then we've got the two-striped Mandalorian. There's the no-stripe variant, which is part of a Pop and Tea combo exclusive to GameStop in the States. No sign of it arriving here in the UK yet, and that'll be added in the collection. But the no stripe, again, sort of different sort of tones of blue within that particular pop. Just again, the detail again is very intricate. The heavy infantry Mandalorian. Now, this one right up my street as a kid. I used to like all the characters that had the heavy armour and the big weapons, and this is very much part of that. Not going to any spoilers for anyone that hasn't seen any of the show yet, and please no spoilers in the comments. But you know, really good character, a slightly heavier, more dense, robust-looking version of the two-stripe, really, and obviously carrying the heavy weapon. And it's also got a jetpack, which is on the back of the particular character on this one. Another Mandalorian, straightforward, different pose this time, sort of with its weapon pointing downwards. Very, very similar to the first, number 345. This is 326. Part of that little wave that started the whole run. The Mandalorian of Cara Dune, IG-11, and Kuil. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but just a starting four, followed up by an increased wave further down the line. So a recent addition to the line, the Flamethrower Mandalorian, exclusive to Target, not been released here in the UK as yet at the time of filming this video. But again, another one just sort of shows his range of weapons that the Mandalorian has. The Covert Mandalorian, but again, tonally, the paint jobs on these are really good. Blues, greens, greys, weathering effects on them. So, you know, gone are the days of a really straightforward paint job. Slightly slimmer character, rifle over the shoulder, and part of that slightly larger range that we have. The star of the show in terms of the Mandalorian range so far. Remains to be seen whether this stays as a high value pop going forward with the hype it could get a re-release. I wouldn't have thought so, being a con exclusive. I would imagine that we are where we are with this one at the moment, but I've got this in my armour because it is the highest value pop I've got to my collection at the moment. Holding the blaster pistol. Again, the first one that joined the collection of this particular line, and as soon as I saw that, I thought this is going to be a pretty decent show, and not been let down so far. Back into his armour, and the first ride that's been released of this particular line was the Mandalorian on Blurg. A pricing error, I believe, on Games website brought this into the collection. Not really any space to display rides and movie moments nowadays, unfortunately, but for £12 I couldn't really resist this, and actually it's actually a really cool pop, so we'll get this out of the box. So, out of the box, Mandalorian on Blurg. Familiar to people that will have seen the first couple of episodes. If you haven't, obviously it probably looks a little bit odd, but there's a really good weathering effect. As always, the Star Wars pops come on a base of some description. All bobbleheads as well as part of the licensing, but the detail on the actual Blurg is really, really cool, and actually it's spot on perfect to the actual TV show. Actually, he looks a little bit more comfortable up there than he perhaps does in the show, but again, the detail of him holding on there is fantastic. So this is probably going to be an out of box pop, I think, if I'm honest. This is certainly, especially for the size of the box. Other additions to the line, we've got the Incinerator Stormtrooper, and we've also got the Child on the way. As well as the Mandalorian, I think it's safe to say the Child is going to steal a lot of the headlines in terms of the show. The Mandalorian looks like it's going to be a show that hopefully sticks around for a little bit. A brilliant line of pops, and that I suspect is only going to get better once they start really getting into the show, especially with the glow-in-the-dark bits that they're bringing into play now, and the explosion effects that are coming on, particularly with things like the Dragon Ball Z pops, My Hero Academia pops that are coming out now. There's a lot of additional flair that they can add to these pops. That pretty much is the way, I guess, if you've been watching the show. Thanks for joining us. This is The Mandalorian, this is the way, and this is Poptimist UK. If you like the video, like, share, subscribe. Thanks a lot.